studied together the doctrine of the Bible and the doctrine of God. And now our third doctrine is the doctrine of humanity or of man. So next, the first screen, please. In this introduction to the doctrine of humanity is we have chapter objectives. We'll talk about this. That's what we need to arrive at. There are 5 reasons the chapter summary. The Christian view of humanity is important. The Christian view of humanity holds that a human being is a creature of God, made in the image of God. This contrasts with 7 contemporary views of humanity. The biblical answer to the meaning of humanity is the most satisfying answer among the possible views. And I'm using Millard Erickson and his book, Systematic Theology, for that chapter. So we'll have different views, what it means to be human according to the Bible, and then different views that are not biblical, but they are very prevalent in our world today. Okay? Next. The importance of the doctrine of humanity. These are the points. Images of the human being, a machine, an animal, a sexual being, an economic being, a pawn of the universe, a free being, a social being, and then the Christian view of humanity. So I will wait for you to translate, or... Okay, now 1 point at a time. Okay. The importance, why are we studying the doctrine of humanity? Why is it important? The doctrine of humanity is actually the gate to the study of other doctrines. And the connection with other doctrines is maybe not so obvious, but it is very important. So if God had not created humans, there would presumably have been no incarnation, no atonement, no need for regeneration and justification. These are all doctrines of the Bible. So if we study the doctrine of humanity, then we will actually connect with the other doctrines of the Bible. And then also our view of humanity will help us understand how we do theology, or even what theology is. That is the degree that it is thought of as a human activity. So it will connect with our doctrine of God, with our redemption, and so on. The images of the human, the doctrine of humanity is a particularly opportune one for us to study because of what's going on in our world today, non-Christian world, and to identify the questions of the contemporary culture and answer them. So we try to find the different views that are prevalent in our world today, in our culture, and then respond to them, and then give the Christian view of humanity. Okay? Next, please. The first view of humanity or human beings, a human being is a machine. And you find this usually in the workplace. An employer does not care about his or her employee except for productivity. What will I get out of you? How effective as a worker or a laborer you would be. So I will care about you in that area. What makes you more effective? I will care about your health as much as you will give me more products. You see, it's not because of love. It's not because I care about you. And that's what you find in the workplace. The employers or the big companies or the multinational companies don't care about people for the sake of people. They care for the workers to have more products, to be more productive, to be more effective. So it's all task-oriented. And then we find if they can replace human beings with a machine, with robots, with an automatic machine, then they will say goodbye. Okay, I have a home, family, I need money. We don't care about you. We care about our product, our company. So to these people, a human being is only a machine. And please, don't let this idea of, come to the church or to us as Christians or to look at people that way. So we live in a world that looks at people that way. We shouldn't. We should be different. So that's it. It's the chief concern of these people is to satisfy those needs of the person, the machine, that will keep it functioning effectively. Why do you maintain a machine? Just to keep it functioning effectively, to give you more products, more stuff. Next, please. An animal. The second view, world view, it's not biblical. That's not biblical, okay? That's what our culture says. So the other view that sees human beings primarily as a member of the animal kingdom. We derive from some of its higher forms, like again the idea of the evolution, that our ancestors are monkeys, so we are just animals. We're part of the animal kingdom. Actually, there is no qualitative difference between humans and other animals. No difference. The only difference is one of degree. Somewhat different, but not necessarily superior physical structure. And the view of humanity is perhaps most fully developed in the behavioristic psychology. Do you know the Pavlov test? Maybe Fatima knows Pavlov test. With the dog or even the rats, you give them two buttons. One button is actually, if they press that button, you give them food. And then if they press the other button, they get zapped by electricity. So the animal, the dog or the rat, knows if I press this button, I get food. And then if I press that one, I will get shocked by electricity, shocked by electricity. So by practice, they will press the right button. That's what they call Pavlov test. And they apply this to human beings. That we train human beings on what's right and what's wrong this way, by rewarding or punishing.
That's a shock therapy.
Yeah. So there is actually, the bottom line is human beings are animals. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So that's psychology. And then another view is human beings are sexual beings. And that's coming from Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud regarded sexuality as the key to human beings and human nature. And at that time, of course, during the Sigmund Freud time, sex was not discussed openly. This guy started a revolution and said actually sexuality is the center of humanity, of our nature. His model of human personality was tripartite, 3 parts. The id, which is essentially a moral part, that's not moral. He says a seething cauldron of drives and desires. So that's the first part. It's all, again, desires, sexual desires. That's the first part of human beings. The second thing is the ego, which is a conscious component of the personality. The more public part of the individual is like the face you wear is a mask. So that's the mask, the ego. You look nice in front of people, but inside, many desires, many bad things. So here the forces from the id, modified somewhat, seek gratification. The superego is the censor or the control on the drives and emotions of the person. The internalizing of parental restraint is like the parental control, the superego. So you have these three parts of human nature. But it's all about sexual energy, sexual being, and it controls all types of behavior, and even directing us towards other goals. But it's the main thing behind every human activity. That's what Sigmund Freud thinks. Okay. Another view is the economic being. Human being is an economic being. It deals with affect and motivate the human being with the economy or economic forces. He is a member again of the animal kingdom, but it focuses on material dimension of life and its needs. Adequate food, clothing, housing. These are the basic significant needs of human beings. And people are seeking these economic resources to gratify their needs, and if they are satisfied, they are happy. And you find this in communism. The idea of communism basically is about this idea. It's all economy, it's all money. So we want to satisfy everybody, to fulfill all their needs, and then when they are satisfied economically, they are happy. So it's again, I want you to think of all these ideas, the answer to man's happiness. So here it's if you have money, if you have positions, you're happy. How about the rich people that commit suicide? They're not happy. You know? If we're talking about human beings as sexual beings, what if we talk about prostitutes and people committing debauchery all the time? They're not happy. So, we need to think about these views. Next, please. And then a pawn of the universe. It's there are special forces that move the human beings as if they are nothing. They are controlled by other forces of society. We find the idea that humans are at the mercy of forces in the world that control their destiny and have no real concern for them. They're seen as blind forces, forces of chance in many cases. And it's pessimistic and determinism. Somebody like a philosopher like Bertrand Russell expressed eloquently this feeling of unyielding despair in human beings. That we have unyielding despair because we cannot control our lives. Other forces determine our fate and destiny. We have no choice, no freedom. Another view is human beings are free beings, are free. And this approach emphasizes human freedom, sees human will as the essence of personality. And this basic approach is often evident in the conservative political and social views. And here freedom from restraint is the most important issue, for it permits humans to realize their essential nature. The role of the government is simply to ensure a stable environment in which such freedom can be exercised. So the idea of laissez-faire, to have free trade, the idea that the government should help people to have freedom, to express themselves, to have freedom of trade, to have freedom of movement, to have freedom to create and be creative. So everything will revolve around freedom. And so excessive regulation is avoided, paternalism is not right, you know. So the failure to provide freedom and choices is always the problem. So it's the main thing here in this view is actually the role of the government or role of everybody in the society is to help everybody to be free. The basic human need is information here that will enable intelligent choice. Because I am free, I need to know more, so when I make a choice, that choice is good. No? But in the, like a poem by the universe is actually saying, oh, you don't have freedom. You're controlled by blind forces. So this is the opposite. Then another view is the social being. Is saying that the individual human is fundamentally a member of society. And membership in and interaction with a group of persons is what really distinguishes humanity. So the idea of society, community, you as a person mean nothing. But your meaning is actually in connection with the society, with the community, with who you know, with the network of people you know. So there is a sense in which one is not truly human. You're not in yourself human, but you are human when you connect with other people. Not fulfilling the human end or telos except when functioning within a social group. And that's why many people in society, they don't know how to sit by themselves. They cannot take it, you know, they cannot sit just, you know, quiet or no to contemplate or, you know, sit silent. They want to be in a group because they feel their meaning, their life will have meaning in a group when they are connected with a group. And that's what we see in peer pressure in schools. Kids trying to find their identity in belonging to the group. And that can be good if they would help each other develop, and it can be a gang, and then that would actually destroy them. So the essence of humanness is not in some substance or fixed, definable nature, but rather in the relationships and network of connections one has with others. So your value is not in yourself. Your value is in the network of relationships with others. So all the views that we explained so far are not Christian, but they are common nowadays in our society, in our culture. We want to understand the Christian view of humanity. The Christian view of humanity is that a human being is a creature of God, made in the image of God. This means first that humanity is to be understood as having originated not through a chance process of evolution, but through a conscious, purposeful act by an intelligent, infinite person, God. The reason for human existence lies in the intention of the Supreme Being God. So why you are valuable is not dependent on your relationship with other people, how much money you have, or the freedom of choice, or anything. It's because you are created by God in the image of God, and God said you are valuable. No matter what. Every human being is valuable. Not because of the connection of people that he knows or he has, or what he has, material possessions, or anything, or intelligence. No. Second, the image of God is intrinsic and indispensable to humanity. It's part of who we are. And that's why we are valuable. We are worthy of dignity. Every human being. While the meaning of this concept will be explored more, we may observe that whatever sets humans apart from the rest of creation, they alone are capable of having a conscious, personal relationship with the Creator. We're the only creatures that can have a personal, conscious relationship with God. And responding to Him, can know God and understand what He desires, can love, worship, and obey their Maker. The responses must completely fulfill the Maker's intention for the human. So this relationship. Also, the human has an eternal dimension. It's not only here, and then when we die, that's it. No, but we have an eternal dimension. The finite point of beginning in time was creation by an eternal God who gave humans an eternal future. So we have an eternal future. And that's very important. That's not the end of it here on earth. That's not it. So what we do here has actually eternal consequences. Thus, when we ask what is the good for the human, we must not answer only in terms of temporal welfare or physical comfort. So, that's what people think of all the time. Make me comfortable. Now, but you know what? And many people are angry at God because He doesn't make them comfortable. But God doesn't worry a lot about our comfort as much as He worries about our good. What's good for us. So it's not temporal welfare. That's really the key for God. He wants us to be happy and good and everything, but that's not the ultimate purpose. Okay? Sometimes you will not be physically comfortable. Maybe people will be sick, like Paul. He prayed for the thorn in the flesh 3 times, and the Lord said, forget it, I'm not going to do it. You know? Well, it's not comfortable, Lord, but it's for good, for your good. It will keep you humble. And that's important for me, more important than your physical comfort. Consequently, we do no favor to humans when we shelter them from thinking about the issues of eternal destiny. Yes, we need to help people with temporal things, physical, food, shelter, whatever, but then we need to focus more on the eternal part, on eternity. Next, please. Okay. Maybe we need to stop here. So thank you so much for today. Yeah. And maybe we continue this lesson tomorrow. But we have an idea at least. You have questions, please write them and don't lose them now while they are fresh in your mind. And then maybe we can discuss them later. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.